talked about wanting the offense to be a little more consistent yesterday. Just how encouraging was that today?
It was good. I mean, I think, we kind of spread it around evenly. There was potential to have bigger innings, but I think overall, a couple of the arms we saw were good. Some of the at-bats where we didn't get any productivity out of them, Billy in particular had two, where a guy hits a ball hard and you don't necessarily get something on the scoreboard for it, occurred as well. So, and then of course, we didn't hit two or arguably three times that we could have. But overall, I'm just glad we put together a complete weekend. That was a topic of conversation we got back from Arlington, and not that we didn't compete well there, but a whole weekend is a long time. It really starts with Thursday's practice, so you got to do whatever you can to prepare and compete as best as you can each and every day, and odds are you'll be a little physically and emotionally tired by the end of the weekend, but you don't want to leave any regrets on the table.
How good was the bullpen effort today? I think at one time it was 17 straight, gave up no hits, just walked out one of the ninth. How was that effort from a lot of guys you want to be working?
Yeah, I mean, just you immediately bring in the relievers. I mean, I think one of them standing behind me, but Banky, is nice to see him out there, but Banky threw the ball really, really well. And that's after a Friday get hot and we didn't use them. So the guys have different terms for that we'll leave to the imagination. But he got hot, didn't get to pitch, didn't show any signs of frustration, came in, and he seems to be just inching along ever since his first day here. He's come a long way, but it's taken every single day he's inched along, and I kind of enjoy that. I know we got the portal and all that stuff, but I enjoy that deal with this job more than anything, where you see a guy who commits to you, stays hungry, so he's better when he shows up on campus and when he committed, and then progresses daily while he's here.
How big of a difference have you seen from him since coming back from Christmas break?
Banky?
I'm sorry, Snead.
Snead? Yeah, I guess he threw pretty well in relief too, but we kind of expect that. With him, it's been the off-speed's been better, and the maturity and kind of the presence has been better. So you guys are, again, working hard to follow our team, and you've seen as many outings, so you probably see that progression more drastically than I do and can maybe even put words better to it than I can. But two things we've harped on with him when we have our meetings and things like that and share things with the kids they need to improve upon is, if he can add off speed to a fastball at what it's at, it can create a mess for the hitter. And then overall presence, demeanor, composure, anything that goes under that entire umbrella is so big in these games, in an SEC park, which Arlington is bigger than an SEC park. And, if we're fortunate enough to play in Hoover and then every SEC park, including ours, it's a big stage. There's a lot going on for these kids.
Would you have liked to stretch out Xander a little more if there wasn't a run roll? And what was the difference?
Yeah, no, we had, I guess you got his back since he's standing behind mine, but, he threw the ball as well as he did to the last hitter. And so since he is paying attention here, our guys need to come out of the gate ready to face that first hitter, especially if you come out of the bullpen. Everybody knows that. You need to be ready from that first pitch on. But for the way the staff's going to work out, if Russ is a little sore, I don't have any major update. I know that was a question yesterday, but we're going to be conservative with him and give him a few days. So I don't know if that means he'll miss this weekend, but he's certainly going to not be at his pitch count, for a couple weeks that he would normally. There's innings available. So other than Beam kind of being the one solidified starter on the weekend, everyone else is just going to have to mesh outs together for us. And we've got a defense that's fully capable and an offense that could be explosive at some point. So Xander and everybody else just needs to get us one out, whenever they're out there. And if they're out there for the full inning, then get us 3 outs for however you can, and we'll see where we're at after that. But to more directly your question 20 minutes later, we had one guy a little sore today who scratched himself from the rotation we kind of had mapped out. So if we would have known that ahead of time, Xander probably would have thrown 3 or 4. But that's okay. We'll roll with it. Guys are not going to be 100% between now and the end of the year. And a guy like Kirby, to me, it stinks he was hurt earlier, but he's going to be more fresh at the end of the year than he would have been. And a guy like Russ is going to gobble up all kinds of innings by the end of the year. But any innings he leaves on the table, there needs to be a guy like Schaefer or Hundley there to gobble it up, Hungry Hippo style. Which you guys, do you know? They probably don't know what hungry hippo is.
I know it just happened a little while ago, but any update on Dean? How's he doing?
Yeah, no, those guys did a good job, and I don't know what to do in that situation. I'm not a doctor, so I kind of stay out of the way. But Dr. Klink is always in our dugout, which is awesome. He's a superstar. He and Woody both combined, put him through the natural protocol, but then I think we even got some of our stuff from football equipment, if I'm not mistaken. Again, I'm out of my element there, but he's good. He's good. So we'll see if we play it cautionary on Tuesday or not. This time of year, I kind of like doing it that way. But if he's not playing on Tuesday, it's kind of my choice, not his or Woody's. So that's a good sign, especially for a guy that missed a few games and a guy that's exciting to watch play.
How would you assess Kavaris' ability as a center fielder right now?
He's a center fielder. Alex Perry, I think, played third base 2 days in a row. He's a shortstop. So I think at our level, it makes you feel comfortable that you got a few guys that can do it in center. And then this is by far the most amount of guys that we have that can play shortstop at our level. I'm not a pro scout. I think I chimed in one time trying to help Coach Bonfield get drafted, and somebody lost their mind. So I honestly don't know how those guys do their job, cover all those players in the country, and now it's only 20 rounds. But I do know this, and this could help a kid out there that was like me. I wasn't good enough. I was always wondering, how good am I? What can I do? If you are out there every day, they're going to draft you whether or not they think you can catch, or whether they think you can play short, or whether they think you are a center fielder. Just because you play shortstop or center field for your team, that doesn't mean what they're drafting you as. And they might even draft you and put a label next to your name, but drafted you for a different reason. Maybe they think you're a DH, but they have a position next to your name. So that's kind of a hot topic. I like guys staying loyal, and I like guys working hard for what they do if you kind of can read between the lines. But to speak for pro scouts one more time, we'll see if it gets me in hot water. Just because you play shortstop doesn't mean they think you're going to play shortstop for any given team. The Mets, I think we can all be fans for the Mets for a little bit because of Tidwell and Gilbert, so you might have to change your mind.
What did you think of the weekends overall for Dalton and Robin?
Really good. Really good to kind of get settled and start to show that they can play a variety of positions. Outfield is fairly new to both of those guys. I've never told Dalton Bargo to go right. Again, something I think could be useful, because I wish I'd go back in time and play. I'm not any smarter than the next guy, but something that if a younger kid hears this that could help too is I've never told Dalton Bargo to go to right field ever. And he goes out there and runs around like a maniac in BP, and he looks pretty good out there. We've had him in left. So we kind of talked about it as coaches. First opportunity we get, let's put him out there. And I don't know that he had any plays to make out there today, but he's got a good enough bat. If he can force his way into that lineup, he'll be able to show everybody what he can do a little bit. So that occurred today.
I guess the way that y'all have had, weekend rotations the past couple of years maybe could make some people forget the fact that it's pretty common to still be sorting these things out at this time of year. Is it, as a coach, kind of take you back to that mode where it often is like that, where you're trying to figure out?
Yeah, and I think, sometimes it's because you want to play it off the matchup, the team that you're playing. How Friday went, I know Coach Anderson often, as a head coach, we've talked about it before, and he would, wait to see who's used out of the bullpen on Friday night to decide who's available for potentially Sunday. I know one Sunday at Missouri, Frank actually was at Oklahoma State, and we used 10 pitchers on a Sunday. The plan was one guy to throw each inning. We actually used a guy to bail somebody out. So, you end up with 10, and he laughed about it post-game, so I can't believe you guys got away with it. But it was what we needed to do with that particular staff, in our opinion. So I don't ever claim again to be smarter than the next guy. If you win, you look smart, and you might even, I know one time we made a poor decision and got away with it. And sometimes you make what is the right decision and it just doesn't work out. So for this team in particular, again, I think it's evolving into a deal where we have a deep offense. Those guys need to stay hungry, but also be good teammates, and we'll do the best to keep everybody involved. And then with the pitching staff, we've got a solid starter that has been the most stable guy probably we've had ever here. You kind of know exactly what you're getting, like Sean Hunley when he used to pitch for us. And I'm talking about Drew Beam. and the rest of the guys need to just be ready to go when their name is called.